Hey everyone, I am your astrologer, Wonder Girl, helping you to live in tune with the natural cycles of the moon. What I want to do in this video is I just want to take an opportunity to discuss something that I haven't discussed before. Not in my full moon in Capricorn video that I recently did, as well as other videos on YouTube or even on my website, okay? But I think it's really important. So that's why I want to talk about it here. What is it? What is it? Why is it important? Well, what it is related to something about the full moon in Capricorn that came to my attention after posting a recent video online because of some of your comments. And some of your comments based on that full moon in Capricorn video was about relationships, and that I didn't address relationships clearly enough about what exactly is going on here and how exactly to deal with those. And I do feel like those concerns are accurate and valid and correct, and that I didn't address it properly enough. And it's an extremely important thing that needs to be understood here. That's like a crucial part of this energy that I'm like a bit upset that I didn't address or see prior to this point, but it's fine. It's fine. We're going to correct it now. And so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to spend this video here talking more about another theme related to the full moon in Capricorn that was brought to my attention from the comments here in order to make it more clear in regards to relationships. Okay. And in order to do that, I think I do have to fill you in on some of the context really quickly here before I catch you up. And to do that, we're going to start here by just talking really briefly about the full moon in Capricorn, which is what's going on at this time. Okay. And that's what this chart is for. I've got the moon in Capricorn here opposite the sun in Cancer. Okay. What is this all about? Well, maybe I need to start with the new moon in Cancer. The new moon in Cancer 2 weeks ago was really about us being in a new and better experience of life here that we've really been working towards, especially all last year and the year prior, and was also about us feeling more capable and ready to handle these new and better things here that we wanted to pursue. But even though that new moon in Cancer 2 weeks ago was about us feeling new experiences were here and us more emotionally ready to handle it, I think since that new moon 2 weeks ago, and especially now at this full moon in Capricorn on Wednesday, July 13th, 2022, we are running into issues here more fully moving forward in this new and better experience of life that is now here. And we're feeling stuck and trapped because the moon is in Capricorn, the full moon is in Capricorn, and the moon doesn't like to be in Capricorn, and Capricorn is a restricting influence because it's Saturn ruled, and also because this full moon here is square Chiron in Aries, which is stationing retrograde here, which is also very difficult in and of itself, making us feel stuck from acting, Aries, triggered, upset, and angry at ourselves and other people, okay? So that's what I need to fill you in on first, okay? About this full moon in Capricorn, we are in a new and better experience of life. We're feeling better to handle it, but we're still feeling stuck from fully moving forward in it, trapped and restricted here. That's unpleasant and making us angry at ourselves and other people. Now, the point that I want to note though, is what is the anger? What is the anger coming from? Why are we stuck? In my video, the official video that I did for the full moon in Capricorn here, I said that a big reason why we were stuck here is because of the slowness, is because we still haven't fully integrated here, going about life in a slower way, and we're still rejecting the slowness, which is what needs to happen after a new moon solar eclipse in Taurus a few weeks ago here, and that we are rejecting the slower approach to life here because it doesn't feel safe and comfortable, Cancer issues, and then feels like it's restricting our freedom, Gemini issues. But what I didn't mention in that video, and what I need to mention here, is that there's another part of the story that I haven't seen before, which is frustrating to me, but it's fine. It's fine. We're going to fix it now. And the other part of the equation has to do more with the discerning approach, right? Because a part of this energy that I've been talking about in all my videos since at least April is that not only are we moving forward in life in a slower way, but we're moving forward in life in a more discerning way, a more picky way, a more choosy way about what is meant for us and what isn't. So not only does everything I said in that last video apply on the full moon in Capricorn, but there's another issue here and another reason why we're stuck from moving forward on new and better experiences that are now here is because of doing things in a picky, in a choosy, and in a discerning way. It's because we still have not worked that issue out within our soul. We still have not worked that issue out here, and we're still afraid to be picky, afraid to be choosy, afraid to be more discerning about our life here as we move forward, which is not, I need to note, because of anyone else. It's not because of anyone else. It's because of us and something that is off within our soul. Okay. Why are we feeling afraid of being picky, choosy, and discerning, which is a part of the equation here of what needs to happen in our lives at this time? Cancer. because that's where the sun is and that's where Mercury is, which are also squaring this Chiron in Aries. Cancer is, yes, about safety, security, and comfort, but it's also about nurturing ourselves, and in particular, nurturing the ones we love or the ones that we're intimately involved with, especially after a first quarter moon in Libra a week ago. So what does that mean to me to bring it together so far in this different way? It means to me that very recently, we've entered new and better experiences of life. Here, we're feeling better about it. We want to move forward on these new and better experiences of life to maximize them, to bring more new and better things together, but we're still feeling stuck and we're still feeling trapped and unable to move forward. The reason why, and angry at ourselves and at other people. One of the reasons why that is the case is because what I said in last video here, we need to go slow. We're still rejecting the slowness and it doesn't feel safe and comfortable, but and it makes us feel trapped. But another reason why here we're feeling stuck and unable to move forward in this new and better experiences of life is because we need to be more choosy, more picky, and more discerning here about what we do, who we spend our time with, and how we maneuver things forward. And a lot of us are afraid to be picky and to be choosy about ourselves and our lives and what's next and stick up for ourselves. Why? Because it does not feel good when it comes to relationships, because we don't feel like we can be nurturing, soft, little sensitive people to everyone else. Because in order for us to be more discerning, more choosy, more picky, we have to set a firm boundary to say, no, I'm not going to do this, which isn't soft and sensitive, which is what Cancer likes to do. Okay. Creating now issues, not because other people, but not because other people are doing things, but because we ourselves are scared to set a boundary, are scared to be what we need to be, are scared to stand up and say, this is what I choose to do. This is me, whether you like it or not here. That is very, very hard. Okay. That needs to be addressed here. Okay. How do we address that issue? Well, similarly to how we address the other issue, if you watch, again, the video that's currently live on the full moon in Capricorn, the other one, okay, what did I say in that video? Well, with this full moon opposite Mercury, which is conjunct the sun here, one of the ways to address this fear of being picky here, because it's not going to be nurturing and sensitive to other people here, is to be kind, not to other people, right? To yourself, to be kind to yourself and what you need and what's important to you, and to talk yourself up so that you can keep with the choosiness, so that you can keep being discerning. Another way to handle that is also a symbol of the full moon in Capricorn itself. Capricorn is a lot about boundaries, hard boundaries here. So another way that you can deal with this fear and insecurity here, that by being picky and choosy, because it's not going to be kind to other people, because you're going to have to you're going to have to close them off, is not only to be kind to yourself and not them, and to nurture yourself through this process, but to not be afraid to simply just set a boundary and to simply just choose to be discerning. So simply just choose your choice, choose to be discerning and to set a boundary, to not let these other people guilt trip you, because sometimes Capricorn can have to do with guilt, to not let these other people guilt trip you into doing things you know you don't want to do that are not in alignment with you here, in order to move forward. And when you do that, be kind to yourself and not let these other people guilt trip you, and set a firm boundary to do what you want to do and to do what's important to you. Then suddenly and unexpectedly, with this full moon here trine Uranus in the North Node, you're going to feel fine. You're suddenly and unexpectedly going to feel much better. Going to feel, thank God, I did the thing deep in my soul I knew I needed to do for me to sustain this new thing and not get trapped and stuck in all these issues that I don't want to be stuck in. Okay. But the minute that you do that and you say, all right, I need to be discerning, I need to do what's best for me and get me, even if it's not nurturing, and be kind to yourself through the process and choose anyways to set the boundary here that you need in order to move forward. The minute that you do that and feel better, thank God, I stood up for me, I didn't need to be in, then another issue arises. After that with relationships. That's what we're talking about. Okay. Another issue arises here because this full moon is also conjunct Pluto, which is very tense and uncomfortable. Okay. And also because at the same time this is going on, Venus in Gemini is making a square over here to Neptune in Pisces. Okay. And this is a bit different because Venus is in Gemini, an air sign, intellectual, and not the water earth stuff that has been tied up in this full moon. And what is an intellectual problem or an air sign problem or a Gemini problem? Freedom, right? Gemini likes freedom to talk to what it wants to talk to, and to say whatever it wants to say when it wants to say it. So now what's happening is we're feeling trapped. We're feeling trapped here and having to close off, right? That's a problem. I want to be free. I want to be what I want to be, say what I want to say, whatever, do this other stuff. But now I feel trapped and closed off, which is confusing, making us confused here. That's hard. How do I put this in more finite terms? What's going on here when it comes to the relationship component is that we need to be more, to repeat it, we need to be at this time more deliberate and more discerning to get what we need for us, to feel more stable and secure, and to stabilize our situation to make it much better. And we need to do that here in order to move forward, but we're not doing that in the way that we need to do fully. And because we're not doing that, we're now feeling stuck and upset at ourselves and in arguments with other people. And these arguments are not occurring because other people. The arguments are occurring because of us, because we are afraid to be discerning. We are afraid to be discerning here and to do what needs to be done, to choose ourselves and our stability, because it's not nurturing and sensitive to other people's little feelings that are going on, even though it's great for our personal feelings here. That is causing a lot of internal struggles. And so what we need to do here in order to resolve that issue is to care less about everyone else's feelings. Here, at the end of the day, it's you, and you die alone, to care less about everyone's feelings and to care more about yours. With Jupiter in Aries, to care more about your feelings and to nurture yourself, not them, yourself, through this inner dilemma, inner conflict that it is that you're having about standing up for yourself. Not only do you need to do that, but after you nurture yourself here, not them, but you around this inner conflict, you need to just choose to stand up for yourself and to be more discerning, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it doesn't feel good. And the minute that you do that, the minute that you stand up for yourself and set a firm boundary and choose your choice, choose what is discerning and disciplining for you, you're all of a sudden, weirdly, suddenly, and unexpectedly going to feel better, like a weight has been lifted because you did what was best for you. But even though you're going to feel good, that finally you chose you and you nurtured yourself through this process and you did what you needed to do and you set a boundary, then another issue is going to arise. And what issue is going to arise? You're then going to feel trapped and closed off. You're going to feel trapped and closed off because you just told someone no. You just told someone, I don't want to do this. And you shut that down. You shut it down. You shut it down real fast. And you said, nope, we're not going to do this. This isn't for me. I'm going to go over here. And now you feel trapped and closed off. Well, maybe I can't talk to that person ever again because I just chose to take care of me. Oh, well, maybe I can't say these things that I want to say to this person now because I just put them in their place. Now I feel trapped and closed off. And maybe for some of you, alone. I feel alone now that I stood up for me and did what I needed to do. That is hard. And the way to deal with that problem, right, because that's a separate problem, is what? That advice, the Sun and Mercury conjunct and Cancer, is to trust in the good emotions, not in the negative ones where you feel bad that you hurt someone else's feelings, but where you trust in the good emotions here, that you feel good, that you did what was best for you. And then now that you feel good and now that you feel at peace, you need to trust those more here. Not only do you need to trust those more and follow those, let those lead because those are the good ones, but you need to think more about why that is upsetting to you. If you stood up for yourself and did what you needed to do, why do you care if you're closed off from these other people? Why do you care if you never see them again? Why do you care if you can't say things to them? They weren't for you anyways. To think more about that so that you can address that issue here so that you can move forward, creating better experiences as you move onwards, okay? So that's what needed to be said here. I think that I didn't say before, really in any of my other videos that I filmed, that I needed to clarify. Okay, I hope that point got across. Maybe at another time I would ignore this issue. Maybe at another time in the astrology, I wouldn't do an extra video like this, but this is key. This is key. This is crucial to what is going on with the astrology here that I should have seen. I should have mentioned that I haven't been, that now I need to. So that's why I'm doing it. Also, I should note too, because looking back on the South Node in Sagittarius, like which happened last year, there were things that I would interpret differently about that time period too. More about releasing beliefs and things like that. So I don't want to do that again. I don't want to do that again. I want to make sure here I say what needs to be said to really get this point across here as we move forward, okay? So that's what's going on. I'm going to repeat that one more time, okay, before I say some other things. And I'm going to repeat that one more time because, again, this is a really freaking big deal. Big enough for me to do an extra video on YouTube, which I haven't done in like years, like 3 or 4 years. So this is a big deal. And I haven't said this in any other of my videos, so I'm going to repeat it again here. What is going on this full moon in particular to the relationship issue, okay, and the being discerning issue? What I think is going on here, to repeat that, which is meant to complement the other issues I talked about, they're both relevant. What I think is going on at this full moon in Capricorn here is that we are in a new and better experience of life, and we're feeling excited about it and ready to move it forward. But even though we're in a new experience of life and we're feeling excited about it and ready to move forward, we're still feeling stuck and unable to move on in some kind of way, which is making us upset and angry here at ourselves and other people, and picking fights with other people, or them picking fights with us, okay, which is very, very hard, okay? And what needs to be expressed here is that it's not the other people that are the problem. It's not the other people that are the problem here that's causing the issue. The real issue here is that there is something within us that is afraid to be discerning, and that is afraid to be choosy and picky and assert that with the strength and the finitude, the finality of it that it needs in order to move forward, causing us to waffle and stay stuck in situations that we still don't want to be in here. And the reason why we are afraid to be more discerning, which has nothing to do with another person, but our fear, because we are afraid to be discerning, we really need to figure out more about what that fear is, which in my opinion is a fear. We're afraid of not being sensitive. We're afraid of not being sensitive and not being nurturing here as we assert ourselves. Okay. And we need to address that. And we need to address that fear around standing up for ourselves and being discerning and not being nurturing to other people by being more nurturing to ourselves, into our own interests, into understanding more of that, into talking ourselves up as we go through these experiences. Not only do we need to handle that by being nurturing more to ourselves and other people and talking ourselves up, but continuing to commit to being choosy and being deliberate about what we do next, and to not back down and to set a more firm boundary here about what's tolerated and what's not here, and setting the more firm boundary here and being discerning and not letting these other people run you over or drag you into these arguments that don't need to happen here. That is then going to help you all of a sudden, suddenly and unexpectedly feel more calm and now and able to move forward in life in this different way. But right as we feel calm, after being more discerning and setting a boundary here with relationships and asserting more of ourselves, then another issue arises. And that issue is that now we feel alone and we feel trapped and we feel cut off from people and from other things. Now that we told them no, now that we told them we had a value, we had a boundary, we had a principle that shouldn't be crossed. Here, that's making us feel sad, like maybe we did the wrong thing, like maybe we could have handled it differently here, or that maybe something else is happening here. That's hard, okay? And because that's now the issue, what needs to be done is not reverting back on the decisions we just made, but we need to trust the good emotions that are making us feel good, telling us we did the right thing. And we need to analyze more here about why we're feeling bad that we cut someone off or drew a clear line in the sand against someone who wasn't aligned with us anyways. Okay, so that we can more fully get to the bottom of that as we move on, okay, which is then going to help us over time bring more things together here and be able to move forward better, okay? So that's what's going on there. Other thoughts that I want to say now here. Okay, I'm focusing on the discerning, right? The fact that we need to be more discerning with ourselves and with relationships and everything and money at this time. Okay. What do I want to say here? Yeah, maybe I should back out a little bit. This is a theme. Being discerning here about relationships, our next step, is a thing. It's not new. It's a thing we've been trying to do, especially since April of 2022 of this year. Why do we need to be more discerning or choosy or picky, whatever word you want to use, about our next steps? Because that is the way you build something new that you've never built before, which is what I think is happening now in our lives. Okay? When you're doing something new that you've never built before and you want it to last, you don't want to do anything crazy all over the place. You want to make sure you're doing the right things, the best things for you to move it forward. So that's the first thing that we need to get clear on. This being more deliberate and discerning, not new, been around for a few months now, and is necessary to help us build a new thing, which we just recently entered into the right way. Okay, another thing that I need to note as well is that this is not just me saying it. This to me is a natural law of the universe here, because being more discerning correlates to Taurus, which is the second sign of the zodiac, okay, which is about sustaining things that were recently started in the first sign of the zodiac, Aries. Okay, so need to realize this is a natural law of the universe. In order to build something healthy, you got to be discerning. You got to cut things out that aren't meant for you, and you got to keep the things in that are meant for you, that you do value. It's extremely important. Okay, going on here. So I think that needs to be known. Okay, what else do I want to note? The other thing I want to note as well is that both issues need to be worked out, right? When it comes to these issues around discerning, being discerning, like all the issues, both all the issues around it need to be worked out. So I think another point that I want to say is not only like that we need to be discerning, and this is what this time in the astrology is about, which isn't going away here, and that it needs to happen, and that it's a natural law of the universe in order to sustain and build something right. But that what needs to happen at this full moon in Capricorn is that we need to root out any and all resistances to being discerning and to standing up for ourselves, our needs, and our values. Here, we really do need to root all of them out here in a more conscious way, because if we don't root out these resistances, then what is going to happen over the course of the next few months, which look tumultuous, is that we're not going to stand up for ourselves. We're not going to stand up for ourselves. We're not going to do what we need to do, and we're going to get into these situations that we do not want to be in, that are going to take us down all these rabbit holes. Okay. The other thing that I want to note is that the two issues in particular, the big ones that I see around being discerning, is that we are afraid that if we are more choosy, picky, discerning, that we're not going to be able to be sensitive and kind and caring and nurturing to other people's needs. Okay. Here, that's hard. That needs to be addressed. And then once that is addressed, the other issue is that once we are not concerned about other people's needs, that now we have to cut ourselves off from them because we pissed them off or whatever here in order to move forward here. And both issues need to be addressed, because sometimes you have to piss people off in order to get what is good for you, in order to get yours. Taurus and Aries are the selfish side of the zodiac, and we're having a lot of good alignments come in here. Sometimes you need to piss people off to get yours, and to do what is good for you so that you don't get involved in all this drama here, and so that you can move forward in the ways that you need. Okay, you got to work out both resistances to being discerning so that you can do it. Okay. What else do I want to note? Sure, another thing I want to linger on is the arguments, right? How can this result in arguments going on at this time? Well, I see arguments occurring in two ways. I see arguments occurring where some of you are being discerning and are being deliberate here about your next steps, and other people don't like that you're being discerning and are mad at you here. Why are you being discerning? And I see the opposite point of view here, where there is someone, right, who maybe isn't being discerning and needs to be, and there's arguments that way that could be occurring here, or something of that sort, right? These are the kind of arguments. Need to be discerning. Yeah, that I think is going on here. Okay. The other things that I want to say is that even though there are arguments, I still stand by the fact that, like, I don't believe these arguments are entirely necessary. Okay. I don't believe they're necessary. I don't believe that either they need to be had or they need to devolve into big things. Why? Well, it comes down to being discerning, and it comes down to the full moon in Capricorn, which doesn't like drama. Capricorn doesn't like drama here. Okay, I don't think they need to create big arguments. Why do I not think they need to create big arguments? Well, when you are more choosy, and when you are discerning, and when you believe in your choice here, and when you are firm in your choice, you don't care what everyone else says. You don't care. I chose what I chose. You don't like it? Who cares? Kick rocks. Dry up. You don't care. Like you don't believe it. Okay, fine. Out of my life. Blocked, turning off the phone, no big deal. Like when you are confident about your choice and your needs and your values, there is no need to entertain someone who isn't okay with it. There is no need to justify yourself to someone who isn't okay with it. There is no need to get involved in that. You just say, I said what I said. I am who I am. You have an issue. You can deal with it. I feel good about myself. And I'm moving on, which I do think is a lot of the Taurus mindset here. So that's a reason. If you are engaging in these arguments with people, and if you're going down that rabbit hole, what that tells me is that it's not an issue with someone else. What that tells me is it's an issue with you. It's an issue with you owning your discernment. It's an issue with you owning. So do you see this? Sure, a lot of arguments been going on at this time because some of you are being discerning and someone else doesn't like it or aren't being discerning enough. That's hard, but even though there are arguments, they're not necessary. Because when you believe in your discernment, you don't care if you're going to cut people off. You don't care what other people are going to say. You do what you do and you say what you say and that's it. And I'm going to mind my own business and live my life and be happy. Taurus and Aries. And you don't engage in these people and talk in circles. You just say, whatever, you got an issue with it, you go deal with it. And same too, if you're on the opposite end of that, if you're not being slow or discerning enough and you're engaging in a fight, it's also not worth a fight. And it's also not the other person's issue. It's your issue. It's your issue because you are not being discerning enough. So do you see this? Arguments, very possible here, but none of them are truly necessary on both sides. None of them are truly necessary on both sides. Because it all starts from within. If you believe in your choice to be discerning, end of argument. If you believe in your choice to do what you do, you don't care who it pisses off. No argument is needed. End of argument. And if you argue with me, shutting you down because I don't feel guilty about what I need to feel guilty about. And if you're not being slow and discerning enough, it's also not the other person's problem. It's your problem because you're getting involved in all these things. So do you see this? Arguments can happen, but it's really on both sides of the argument an internal issue that needs to be worked out first. And once one person becomes slower and more discerning, the issue disappears. And once the person who is slower and more discerning just believes more in your discernment and works out the issues around not being sensitive and feeling trapped, also issue goes away. Okay. So that's what I'm going to say here. Can't be getting in these rabbit holes here and can't be caring who you're pissing off. You are who you are and that's what it is. And I think that that's the message there that I have to say. Okay. I hope that was helpful for you here. Sorry if I'm, I'm sorry if I'm in a mood while I'm saying this, but I'm like really frustrated that I filmed how many freaking videos on my website and here, and that this hasn't come to my attention yet here, and that I have to do this thing, that I have to do it. I'm in a mood with myself here, but I hope that the point has been clear and come across about what exactly is going on here. Your card for the relationship issue with the discernment here is the Empress reversed, and we've got Justice upright here. I see this is exactly what's going on here, the fairness, the sensitivity. I see some of you feeling like it's a trade-off. Either I'm sensitive to other people's needs and fair to them, but then I'm not fair to me. I'm either sensitive and fair to other people or not fair to myself, or vice versa. I'm sensitive and fair to me, but I'm not sensitive and fair to other people. I see a lot of you thinking in finite terms like this. Either I get mine and I'm good and the other person doesn't and they're crappy and they're sad and they're lost, or the other person gets theirs and I do whatever they want and then I don't get mine. And I think that that's not the right way to look at it. This black and white thinking of either this or that, it's not the right way to think of it here. Both can win. Both can win. Both you and the other people can win. Okay, which is a weird thing to say. How can both you and the other person win? Well, it goes back to this video, by you choosing you, by you choosing you, by you choosing to honor your needs and to honor your values. Some of you need to realize that this is not an either or situation, and that this isn't a black and white, that by you choosing to do you and to be choosy and to picky and to honor your values, that everyone wins, maybe not in the short term, but in the long term, which Capricorn likes. Why? Because when you do you and when you get yourself in order, you have more to give. You have more to give that's more authentic to you and who you are, and that's more free flowing and that's more pleasant. But when you are not doing you and what's important to you and your needs and values, you don't have a lot to give. You feel stuck, you feel trapped, you feel in situations you don't want to be in, and you're in a bad mood and you're going down the rabbit hole here. So that's a big point here. Some of you feel like this is an either or no sum game. Either we all lose, or I lose and they win and I lose, and it's like, no. Everyone wins by you choosing yourself. Everyone wins by you standing true to your needs and your values. And everyone wins because it puts you in alignment with yourself. And when you are in alignment with yourself, that is the best gift you can give anyone. That is the best gift you can give the world here, because it's going to make you happier. It's going to make you a better influence. It's going to make you able to be in your experiences in your life and your relationships better, and to see it that way here, and to hold on to that, and to realize there is a third perspective that you can adopt here in order to make this better. It doesn't have to be an either or, a lose-lose. They work together here in helpful ways as you move forward. Okay, and I think that's all I have to say there. I hope that was helpful for you. Sorry about the mix-up. Thank you so much for watching here, and I will talk to you on the next video.